Hey, well, first of all, I'd like to say, and I is gonna find me, because I want to be a part of this fucking dumb wannabe tennis tour.
You know, I think they got his testicles so far up their mouths that this is bullshit, you know?
I'm not thinking about that right now. I'm just thinking about having won the world title and hopefully trying to win another one someday. You just drop in and just smack the drop down, say bah! Well, I'll tell you, Stu, I did travel some humongous ways.
Oh, just the paper, please?
Oh, surf looks good on it.
Not bad.
Ain't that swell with Jed and Vaughn?
Oh, those guys are back!
Get a haircut.
Right on.
Yeah, shredheads, waxheads, kooks and barneys, welcome back to Ain't That Swell, the radio show dedicated to cutting fucking sick. I'm your host, the two-time Gold Cone Peace Award-winning surf journalist, Scum Valley's finest himself, the maestro of micro-dosing, the punch-drunk pikey, the sultan of psilocybin, Smithy. Good to see you, Vaughn.
Yeah, man.
I'm joined here, as always, by my loyal co-host and friend, frontman of the Goons of Doom, former editor of Surfing World magazine, Tracks magazine, and Waves magazine, Vaughn Rinsecorn Deadly.
Hey. Hello, Smithy. Good to see you, bro.
Good to see you, mate. Back in the orifice after a quick jaunt to the archipelago where you were sharing a taxi, a flight, a BMO, a rickshaw, a rickety boat, and I'm not sure what other methods of travel they have there in Indonesia. There's probably a couple I've missed, but you were there with
Bison. Rode a few bison. Rode a few fucking yard birds, just a couple of chooks around the backyard. It was good, mate. Went away on the search, got some quality time with Tom Curren.
What does that look like? Sound like?
Fuck, man, I'll tell you, he is a bloody legend. I loved him. I had such a good connection with him. Definitely a pretty out there dude in terms of sort of like, you know, social norms. I don't know how he'd fit into just regular old society, your day-to-day, going to the shops and doing your normal stuff. He seems to have like a side of him that just definitely shies away from any sort of legacy or what he's doing or how good he surfs or any of that. Like, just kind of loses interest in it. But he loves his radio shows. You know, even when we were in Indo, he was like tapping back into his favourite radio show back in, California.
Can relate.
Just listening to the wireless, classic old 60s stuff. He loves his jazz. Just a good human. Enjoyed his enjoyed his company, and geez, man, I'll tell you what. When you see him take off on a wave, you're pretty starstruck. Like, or awestruck is probably a better word. You're not looking at him going, wow, that's Tom Curren. You're looking at him going, how is he just so poetic? How does he just stand with the perfect stance and just go so fast, seemingly doing nothing? Like, he's the magic carpet rider, man. He's a cosmic being, and no, I really enjoyed it.
Well, there's just one word that really springs to mind, and it's inimitable.
Inimitable. He's absolutely inimitable.
He is inimitable.
And man, time with Steph, post-tour Steph, really cool. Shredding, looking for the calling, I think. Looking for the connection, looking for what's going to motivate her next chapter in surfing. Like, will it be the lure of the tour, or will it be that kind of Curren-esque sort of, I don't know, what would you call it, like that connection with the source, I reckon. You know, like if you think about Curren's trajectory, man, he only had 1 year off tour when he was when he took those years off to move to France and stuff. He was only off tour for like 1 year, 18 months or something. Came back in 1990. It was like he'd been gone for 10 years. Everyone just thought he was this weird, abominable snowman sort of walking through the dunes in France. And in actual fact, he was just disappeared, sort of got in contact with something that everyone knew he already had. But that sort of, he came back, just blitzed everyone, and then he went, searching with Rip Curl and all that. So, fucking wild shit, man, just seeing where these surfers are at. And Mason, just pure laughter, pure joy. just is exactly what he appears to be, just a little leprechaun dancing all over the fucking rainbows of life. It's just a pretty amazing team there. Yeah, I had a really good time, man. Great stuff.
Yeah, it is a big question for Steph. Motivate, motorboat, Gamote. Is that a calling? A berth on the Masters Tour. She had a gut full of wrangling with this next guard of up-and-coming, uppity little...
Yeah, but good times.
Maybe that is
good
the
times,
motivation.
Smitty.
Just to slap down a couple of Groms and teach a bit of fucking respect.
Yeah, I don't know what, like, she seems to me like she's looking for what the answer is herself. So pretty interesting time to go away with that crew. New movie coming out at some point. But, yeah, mate. No, just good to be home. I've got to give a shout out to a guy I bumped into this morning, Smithy. Mr Ricketts, my old PE teacher.
Oh.
Yeah, went for a little surf at Newey, my home beach that I grew up at. And there he is, Mr Ricketts, just standing there, talking year 7, year 8, year 9, Mullumbimby High School. Best teacher ever, dude. Just such a lord. Sort of convinced him to put a surf team together to take us to our first inter-schools championship. The classic one where, we lost narrowly to Foster Sports High or whatever you call it.
And
Trent Munro and Mick Maltson and... Munro, enjoy the bus ride home, inbreds out the side of his mouth. And
line.
But, yeah, I remember Mr Ricketts just being such a great teacher, facilitated all of us. And when the boys, my teammates, Hazy and Josh Smith, snuck off to smoke a big hottie that night in the campground, Mr Ricketts turns to me and he goes, I don't mind the smell of marijuana. God bless him.
Well played, Ricketts.
Couldn't even bring himself to get someone in trouble, He's that sort of teacher. So, real joy to see him, man. Fucking oath.
What an icon. How good are the PE teachers? They were always classic, hiding their stoned eyeballs behind a thick pair of ballet wraparounds.
Yep.
Dependable.
That sums him up perfectly. It was a fit unit, heart of gold, and makes you realise, when a good teacher comes along, they can have a positive impact on your life.
Oh, yeah.
He was so supportive of all of us just being into what we were into and wanted to help out. And
yeah, and they were always
they're
found
good,
in
man.
these fringe peripheral departments, PE, visual arts, woodwork, photography. They were never, in the core of the syllabus, just pumping absolute gibberish into the forming minds of the youth. Those cunts can get fucked.
Yeah.
But the rest of them, those peripheral core lords on the outer rings of the syllabus, just encouraging us to follow our dreams, however stoned and half-baked they might have been. Well played, Ricketts.
Yeah. Well played, Ricketts. And Smithy, just before we get into things, I have some exciting news for you, mate. The Bong, the Bong. Bong Krong.
Well, yeah.
Number one, always support Nate, that's Swell. Been with us forever and ever. Well, guess what, mate? They've come on board to do a bit of good old-fashioned dot gurneying for us.
Oh, that's great. I need the detritus cleaned off my corn.
Yeah.
It's always, especially now with a bit of a knee injury, I'm high and dry and the coit is getting pretty inflamed.
It's not so much for you, mate. It's it's for the Swellians. They want to start buffing out Swellians, and they're going to give away a $500 Billabong voucher every 2 months. So
that'll get you a serious corn cleaned down at the Crystal Car Wash.
Yeah, well, we're going to ask Swellians, if you want to go into the running to win this $500 voucher, you just go to billabong.com/Swellians and you just sign up. You just whack your name down on the mailing list there and you're in the running, mate. $500. We're going to announce it. Revamp your wardrobe. Imagine it, man, walking into Bird Rock just sporting $500 worth of Billabong Cron.
Just head to toe. You got your beanie, you got your jacket, your Adventure Division jacket, you got your trackies, you got your signature Otis Carey leopard print G-string on.
Yeah, you walk in, you order a schnitty, you throw $5 on the hounds, you're just fucking lording it, mate.
Lording it.
Well,
throwing vouchers around willy-nilly. How good.
Imagine walking into the fucking... the Marlin at Ulladulla, just looking that sweet and your Billy's cron just before the bikies fucking take you out the back, punch the living fuck out of you and fucking steal all your shit.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, 5 minutes of
glory. Push you into the car park like Terminator.
Yeah,
in a
speed
pair of
deal gone
G-bangers.
wrong, but fucking oath, mate. I mean, it would always compliment the checkered floor in there, so that'd be good.
Oh, yeah, a bit of a blood spatter on the checkered floor, and there's no better feeling than walking through a venue, like you said, just with your voucher of coupons tied up in a rubber band, just flicking them like you're the big boss in town. Jeez, beats food stamps, dead for stick.
Oh man, and don't write yourself off if you're not from Torquay or Ulladulla. What about I don't know? Maybe you could hit the pavilion at Burly for in your bonkron. Maybe
nice.
like an old muscle tee, fluoro muscle tee, some retro boardies, Occy style. Maybe in the Occy range that's coming out. Just soaking up the coke farts in there, just marinating in the fucking stench of the Burly Pav. Fuck, mate, I swear, you do all right if you were rocking old school Ocron in there.
I've been coke crop dusted by the most Botoxed, tightly clad women in that joint. It's unbelievable. I don't know what they're eating. If anything, I mean, geez, the fucking ribs on them, the set of ribs and the spraying of noxious detergent mixed with
that's it, man.
cacao plant. But mate, anything gets you through a situation like that. It's just being able to zip the Adventure Division hoodie right up, cover the nostrils, and just make your way, just eyeball out.
That's it, man.
That joint.
Yep, just bonkron, a Fisher Fizz seltzer, and a big woof of fucking coke fart. You're on your way, Smithy.
Mate, and
hey, what about the Indiana Hotel at Scarbs, one of our favourite haunts?
And let's not block out those in the central west of New South Wales who during my school holidays spent out at Forbes.
Yeah.
Mate, the bonkron was coming thick and fast out of the
what was the local
stores.
out there? Like, where would you be the hit walking into a joint with bonkron on out Forbes?
Oh, the Postie. I think that's the main pub in town.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like, it's so.
What, viewed with suspicion out there though? The bonkron?
Not at all. Au contraire.
Absolutely
I mean,
lauded.
look, I think the culture out there is so baffled by itself. People are getting around in 2-pack shirts and surf cron and yet you come here to the Northern Rivers and you're 5 minutes from the beach and you got cane farmers dancing around doing their country jig and R.M. William boots and wide brims like they're fucking working as a jackaroo in central Queensland.
Yeah.
But you go out in the bush and, they're all donning the surf cron. So
Sick.
don't write them off for them.
Unreal. No. Well, I mean, Ned Brockman, friend of the show and friend of you, friend of me.
Oh, yeah,
Forbes
played
bloke.
through me on the golf course out there at Forbes over Christmas. Just fucking power walked straight through me.
Didn't even see
Move
it.
aside, you kook.
Yeah. Was he wearing the bonkron?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's head to toe in that shit. I think he's actually a guest starter at the Fanning Flood Relief Golf Day that's coming up
just
next
don't
week.
end up playing in front of him because he'll fucking lap you.
He'll plough you. And what about a shout out just to our friends in the West too, Smithy, the far West, the Scarbs Hotel, Indiana Hotel at Scarbs.
Oh, how is
Ain't
that
that swell? Favourite venue, personal favourite.
Absolutely.
Maybe, I don't know, bonkron. What would you wear over there? Maybe some corduroy, some nice slacks. Hit the bourbon and cokes, and maybe a spaghetti bolognese toasty.
Yeah,
from
sure.
that little toasty joint.
Oh, that
that's in there.
toasty joint's bullshit. Maybe a paisley psychedelic button-up shirt a la Jimi Hendrix and some of the previous iconic guests that have come through that joint and stuck a needle in their arms and shot up a hot 1 or 2 or 7. But, yeah.
Awesome.
Incredible
Well, look, no matter where you are in Oz, get on it. Billabong.com/Swellians. All you got to do is sign up. And, once every couple of months, we're going to announce a winner on this show. Might even buzz him. Might even call him up, do it live, just so we can, really ramp up the cron, Smithy. That's going to be fun. From June to December, so next 6 months, bro. I'm going to give away 3 $500 packs on your bong.
Finger bang.
Number 5, Vaughan, the Surf City El Salvador Pro is about to get underway. We've got fun, mid to long period swell in the head high to overhead range. Looking at some sus wins to kick off the waiting period or the first day of the event. I think it's looking around like the 9th of June. It's going to be start time with a little light onshore ruffle. Screams backside attack. To me, Italo Ferreira coming off a last start win at Chopes. And, you look at that wave and it just bears uncanny similarities to that right point he grew up on there at Baia Formosa. Another kind of lined up but semi-mushy and often onshore right point. And, his backside is it's underrated. You kind of forget about it in the context of his acrobatic aerials, but mate, it's made of cast iron. No one clubs it with more venom, consistency, and he's got that ability to just pivot into cartwheeling finners and huge lofted backside air revs like that iconic 10 in Portugal. Still one of my favourite turns in a contest, Rashi. And on the women's side, Caroline Marks, she's hanging in there at 5th in the world. Not been a great year, but I think she's a former winner here at El Salvador, and just looking to get a bit of rhythm as we enter this back half of the year. She needs a couple of strong results, Vaughan. She's hovering there and thereabouts. Hasn't looked convincing in her title defence here. What do you make of this upcoming event?
It's a funny one, isn't it? Off the back of Chopes, it's so hard to get up and about for El Salvador. We've never really seen this wave fire up. I was talking to Stace Galbraith about it. He was just like, this might be the better forecast we've seen, one of the better forecasts we've seen for it. When I see those unfavourable winds, I just start thinking frontside airs as well. So the backside hook in the pocket has this sort of power aspect to it, where the Italos, Gabe's starting to look pretty dangerous. Ramsey Buchheim's backhand out there could be fucking lethal. Like,
don't forget O'Leary's, bro.
O'Leary's, bro, but mate, get your finger out of your dot, O'Leary's, bro. It's just it's so hard when you know a guy surfs so good and he's just can't find that fucking missing ingredient, man. Like, I don't know what it is. I'm sick of speculating about it, but if he can find it, bang, game on. But yeah, I think the air game will be the sort of the Achilles heel of the backside attack. If Griff and Jack and the big frontside air guys can start poking it, spinning it, inverting it, then we could see a little return to form from those top 1-2 men's and women's who ate shit at Chopes.
Conventional wisdom would suggest this wave's going to suit someone like Ethan Ewing, but then you kind of factor in the winds, and it's that equatorial, like the mid-morning light onshore, the midday light onshore. You're expecting to have to surf at least a couple of heats with a bit of bump and chatter on it, which could be a bit of a stick in the spokes of his down the line slice and dice game. But mate, he needs to rally here, Ewing, especially with no more J-Bay on tour.
This is a hectic little part of the leg. I mean, I know he's got a second place in Brazil. So he's never looking at a spot and going, that's my weakness. He's looking at spots going, I can win that. But yeah, you're right. It's sort of just slowly starting to lose his grip on that, top 2, top 3. He slid down to 4, I believe. So yeah, Ethan, a big result here needed from Eth. Yeah, mate, I'm really curious to see how Gabe goes here, because that last comp just far out. He was the best surfer in the event as far as like just pure determination, the way he was going for it at Chopes, and just brought undone really by a couple of mistakes in that semi against John. But the drive is there, and yeah, they're coming, mate. The big dogs. The big dogs are starting to flex.
Yep.
John at number 1, Italo back in the top 5, Gabe on a fucking looking a bit seedy, looking a little bit angry, and sporting a few tiger stripes on his butt cheeks from getting ploughed into the reef. Like, don't you reckon that they're the sorts of things that can make people go like, right, or just a little snap back into reality?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you got to be careful. It's kind of the metaphor of trying to step over that dog in the darkness on your way to the dunny, and you misjudge it and tread on its neck, and it just goes you. I think that's basically
next thing you got frothing at the mouth yourself, rabies just fucking dribbling out of your eyes.
Exactly. That's I feel like that's how the male side of the draw is kind of lining up at the moment. But yeah, it's interesting. John, he comes to this event. His best result there, a 17th, lost to Rio Wider. I don't know if kind of semi-gutless, wobbly, sideshore point break conditions are the kinds of conditions he loves to compete in. So he's going to be drawing on that grit. And I don't know, when it comes to grit, I don't know if John really maxes out the meter compared to some of his fellow competitors. I feel like at some level, he's still just this surfing purist, and he needs some quality cons that suit his skill set to get up and about. But
3 finals this year, 3 second places, and hasn't won an event since 2021.
Wow.
So you're right. something is missing. But this year, if I may just put an optimistic spin on it, maybe, it sort of feels a bit like Parko's world title year. You know, he does have the monkey on his back that Parko had because he got 2 world titles already, but couple of seconds, really consistent, back in the gold jersey, 2 whatever events coming up, and then, cloud break, and then Trestles. Like, I mean, if he doesn't get a win, like, the stage is set for him to make a statement at Trestles, but that's a little ways off. We're not sort of there yet, but don't you reckon? Like, there's a sort of like a narrative starting to build, like, fuck, where's he going to finish? Can he get a win? And if he gets to that finals day without one, would that actually work for him?
Yeah.
You never know.
Oh, man.
You never fucking know, Jed.
Horseshoeing Trestles rights, clean face, long period energy, purpose built for some of those John backs and John downs.
Yeah, and spent his whole junior life there fantasising about that sort of day, just like Griffin, just like Kanoa, probably more than the other surfers on tour. No Philippe. I'm actually not minding Trestles as a sort of a finals platform for the last time. We know we're going to fucking cloud break after this.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
When did that get announced?
Oh, no, it's on, mate.
Are you kidding me?
I don't know if it's official, but it's pretty much the worst kept secret in pro surfing if it's not out there. Yeah, cloud break to host WSL Finals 2025, Smithy. Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Oh, it's interesting. So they're going to be looking at a September window. Plenty of South Swell around about that time. Winds may be an issue. You're definitely going to be dealing with some pretty strong trades. That cross, offshore, sideshore kind of scenario.
We can come to that. But what do you think? Like, last year at Trestles, if you're like a Colapinto, I would say John wouldn't be turning his nose up at it. With no Philippe there.
Yeah.
The danger for me now that Italo's on a roll is what he brings, because the Hail Mary and the X Factor, I think it might be impossible to ignore on a beach full of thousands of people, a lot of Brazilians down there. They know to show up in numbers now.
Oh, yeah, they've got the WhatsApp thread, honey.
And,
we got the uppers, we surf uppers, 1,000 in the lineup.
You know what I mean?
Then we look at lowers and we cheer the lower one.
It's like the gay
Just like the Northern
backflip.
Rivers.
Not the most amazing turn ever, but like huge number for just a turn that hadn't been seen, and the crowd on the beach. And like, you can't not hear that. The judges don't have fucking noise-cancelling headphones on, man. So,
but they should have a couple of skull crushers.
There you go. Yeah. So
and the women, Vaughan.
Women's, yeah. What do you think?
The pickle needs a solid result here. She's on the skids a bit too. Simmersy Bra, last start, dead last.
Yeah.
This is a wave that definitely suits her skill set a lot more. A rippable, high-performance right point. She's probably done a bit of time there. It's within striking
and pretty
distance
soft.
from
Like
the States.
her little tail release out of the top, it's going to suit that wave, and she gets massive scores for it.
Yeah, I think in the women's side of the draw, surfers who can surf above the lip line are going to do well here, and that's Katie Simmers and the pickle. But, Breeza Hennessy. She's in the yellow leaders jersey. She's from Costa Rica. It's a neighbouring country to El Salvador. She's speaking a native tongue there, and far out. She's had as consistent a year as you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
She's made a semi-final or better in every event so far. So she's on an absolute hot one.
Yep.
And at the other end of the draw, who do you reckon's most likely to get caught up in some kind of crooked drug deal in the streets of El Salvador? Who's going to spend a night in lockup?
Oh, mate.
Who's going to run afoul of a local maitre d' at the bordello?
That's a good question. That is a really good question. Fuck, I can't even think who's on tour at the moment. I've mind farted. What? Who?
Well, I don't
know.
You got
a pick?
We know, Ramsey, Rambo, the whole destroyer, Bookheim doesn't mind a good time once the shackles are free of that stringent fascist Moroccan Islamic State. So he's going to be on the prowl potentially. Another one that springs to mind, Crosby Colapinto. He likes a good time, Cros.
Okay.
So just be careful, Cros. Don't have one
Keep
too
it
many
safe,
Mai
Crosby.
Tais and wake up without a liver
Yep.
on the streets of El Salvador in the bathtub of some MSK13 psychopath pointing an AK in your grill.
It's unbelievable. This comp starts tomorrow, man.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be on while we're on air. Right now, it could be
the
on.
waiting period, I think the 9th is looking at
At first,
start
well,
time.
okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, well, Calm the Aussies. Let's see Jack Robbo and Ethan Ewing cement their places. And O'Leary's bra. Oh, fuck. One thing too, Smithy. I know you touched on it in our blitzed Chopes rap, but Lobby O'Brien.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck me, dude. This guy is surfing out of his skin. I reckon he's the most improved surfer on tour by far. I mean, we all know how good he is, but, like, his lines in particular, like, how aggressive and fucking... Oh, I was really inspired watching highlights of Chope, just how fucking good he was backside tube riding and how aggressive he is on wave faces. Like,
Oh, man.
the sting is so vicious. He's like a fucking cobra snake.
Yeah, this wave really suits him. He got the better of Ethan Ewing there last year in what was kind of a breakthrough victory.
Oh, that was a heat.
And, yeah, just that full-blown signature savagery on rail, and he's got a really stylish, boned-out punt game, so a couple of big front-side punts, a couple of rotations, and yeah, he just seems really locked in at the moment. He's found a formula that works for him. It's exciting to watch. And
He's my dark horse for sure.
Yeah, I'd be expecting him to have a serious crack at this one.
Go, Lobby!
Otis Carey takes out the national Indigenous titles down there at Jarrack on Wadawurrung country, a.k.a. Bells Beach, Victoria. But it's not about winning, it's about being together, writes Jessie Rebel in her contest report on the Roaring Journal. Sounds like loser talk to me, Vaughan, but I'll be mistaken because Jessie actually took out one of the divisions.
Ew!
So, fucking Lord, Jessie Queen!
Yep.
Here's what she had to say about the day. On the Roaring Journal, finals day was one for the books with sunny 3 to 4 foot conditions and a light offshore breeze, making for a picture-perfect Jarrack. The surfing on display was that of absolute style and talent, with Landon Smales dropping 2 10-point rides across 2 divisions and taking out the finals of the men's longboard and junior boys. Smalesy bra on a tear, on a rip and tear, ripping the bag, licking the bag, although he's too young for that.
Does not mind a fucking 10-point ride, Smalesy bruh. Smalesy bruh has been dropping 10s for years, mate. Like, I reckon he's got more 10s under his belt at this stage of his career than, you know, maybe Medina had at the same age.
Wow.
I know.
Couple of corrupts on his 9-foot longboard, a la Bonga Perkins.
How's last year? He won the Opens, Juniors and Longboarding division of the Indigenous titles. I'm pretty sure.
Are you
This year he's
kidding
backed it up with
me?
two of the 3.
Somebody stop him!
I know. He is actually our Uplord of the week. We're not going to drop it into this episode, Smithy, but Smalesy, we're going to catch up with him during the week, have a good chat to him, find out about his life. I think he's surfing for Noosa board riders these days, his Sunny Coast Low.
Bumped into his old man at the Burly Single Fin Classic. Legend of a bloke, full-blown, swelling, core lord, cone fiend, hellman degenerate.
Nah, he's a mad dog, and he needs some fucking light shined on him, mate, this Smalesy bro. He was a contender, I believe, for the Mick Fanning Rising Star Award at the Surfing Australia Awards this year. So he's earmarked, but, man, what's he going to do? Are we going to lose him to the log scene, or is he going to stick to the shortboards? Because he's got a mean air game, and apparently he fucking stuffs it when it's big, Smithy. You'll be pleased to know the kid's got figs.
Does he go the Harrison Roach route or the Julian J.W. Wilson route? It's a fork in the road. Do you choose to live in Joel Tudor's granny flat for the next 10 years of your life, smoking skinny greyhounds and turning back the clock to the traditional logging days
just
of yore?
To fold anyone who disagrees with you on Instagram. Like, that's a life. It is a life, Smithy.
It is. Or do you just go the full hi-fi wizard, just fucking set fire to your log and just go all alley-oops and air reverses and psycho technical bottom turns into beautiful down carves.
Yeah.
Like the great JW. What a
And
talent.
JW having a bit of a moment on the comeback. Just slight side note, slight little...
Is that right?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's just dropped an insane clip of just high-performance shreddery from all over Indo. He's been invited to Stab High in Japan, which is like in a few weeks.
Sushi roll. Relived.
He's already been doing a few, mate. The sushi roll back
Bring
in
it
Japan.
back.
So, yes, we'll get to Joycey, I reckon, in a future ep, but far out, mate. I mean, maybe losing the hair was the best thing ever.
Yeah, he's looking good. Trimmed
Reinvigorated.
down and just fully shaved to the 0.5, just going light speed.
Self-made man. His golf motocross surf company, Rivia, is on
It's doing
fire.
well. I like it. Good club.
Just on the finals, mate, I wanted to make mention of just how fucking stacked the men's final was. Did you have do you cop it?
No.
So they're Odie, I think it's his second or third Indigenous title. So congrats to the Oat Dog. But he was up against Russ Maloney.
Oh, of
fucking
course,
North
the
Shelley's
Black
finest,
Slater.
the absolute fucking shred lord from the working class fucking backwater that is at the very top of club surfing staunchness Australia-wide. Russ Maloney in second. Johnny Craig, mate. My old mate Johnny Craig from fucking Coffs Harbour. Third, if it's the same guy, I'm sure it is. Good to see him. And Geordie Campbell, who is also, fucking big name shredder and full-blown advocate for, Indigenous fucking knowledge, stories, sharing of wisdom. He's the fucking man, George. So, powerful final there. And, Oat Dog getting it done.
Coffs, big showing. Lee Winkler taking out the Masters, the over 50s.
How good, eh? Wink. Fuck, mate. The
And,
nugget, the Ewok, bruh.
Pagey in the mix there to fire out, man. Looks like he's trimmed down since I last seen him on the rock, and still that classical body positioning on his backside there in the bowl.
Well, Mace was telling me a funny story where he was down on the beach at Pipeline. Pipeline was macking, and Mike Ho was out there, and Mike Ho came in, and Mace was going, "Let's come out, Uncle Robbie," and I was, "Oh, nah, man, nah." And then Mike Ho had just come in to swap boards, and he just runs straight past, the pipe master. Robbie Page, a pipeline master, and starts paddling out. And Robbie just goes, "Fuck, I got to go out. If your old man's going back out, I got to go out." And so they paddled out together, and apparently Robbie just takes off on this set and just gets fucking absolutely atomized. And on the second wave, Mace took off, pulled in, got absolutely lit up, like 20 cartwheels in the air, just pulverized. And while he's underwater, he reckons he just went bang into this body, and the body just grabbed him, and he didn't know who it was, and he just starts kicking and fighting, and the fucking body ends up letting go of him. And they pop up, and it's Uncle Rob, and he's like, "Fuck, you got some grit in you. How angry are you, little They just had this fucking classic underwater, body slam. It was so good, but got him out there. And mate, I'm not joking. Pagey's physical just transformation after 2 or 3 months over there. He spent a fair bit of time hanging out with the fucking Lords, and he's come home a different guy, man. So sick to see Uncle Robbie.
One of the best guys to bump into over there. He's got the VIP treatment wherever he goes. He's got the premium nugs straight from Miles Padaka's backyard. Yeah. Smithy's hands. Well played, Pagey. Thank you, sir.
And I want to give a shout out too to the Open winners, Smithy, Osha Curtis, Bodie Simon, Meg Day, and Kari Houston Connor in that final. Beautiful waves, man. Real cool. And, as you say, Jesse Muir taking out the logs with Landon Smales, as we mentioned. What
Jesse
about old Brookie Sylvester, though, getting it done in the over 50s?
Oh, Maroubra's finest. The chook.
On your Brookie. But, yeah, man, it's got to be the feel-good comp of the year. Everyone's down there, as you say, just feeling so connected. We've been invited down a couple of times. I think next year we fucking got to go.
Make the pilgrimage down to Wadawurrung country.
For sure.
Be classic.
I'd love to take part. It'd be so fun.
Yeah, mate. And just as a whole, the event just sounds a lot more noble than the savages that turn out for the standard Australian teams titles.
Yeah.
Surfers taking shits on sex workers' chests.
Which team's title is that?
Spraying.
Oh, yes. I know the ones you're talking about.
Spraying water out of the orifice into the air, the cornhole, the spit the winkle, and just a bunch of comatose drunkards stumbling around the contest site with bits of foam on the corner of their mouths.
Yep.
It's a disgrace.
That's a disgrace.
Could learn a lot from the First Nations titles down there,
mate.
Vaughn.
No. From all
It's
reports,
decorum. Wouldn't go
unbelievable.
astray.
And congrats to the winners.
Teams
Profit.
challenges of yore.
Yes. I think we've all learned that you get nowhere on the fast track getting the old Bondi Cleveland steamer. Load on your chest.
Full extent of Jiao Chianka's fucking skit head knock revealed. Just another crack pipe piece of surf gurning from Stab Magazine. Here's what exactly went down in Jiao's words. I got a few waves at pipe and backdoor, but then my leash broke. So I went back to the Volcom house. I'd already surfed for a few hours, so I ate some more food while I was there. I remember grabbing a new leash, but I don't remember anything after that. But based on the clips and what my team has told me, I was getting waves and having fun. I had 2 backdoor waves, then fell on one. The accident actually happened after the wipeout. I got my board and tried to paddle straight back out at backdoor, but not all the way around at pipe. I got caught by a set. I bailed my board on the first wave, but the second wave was really bad. I had a pretty big cut in the back of my head that required 14 stitches, but my board was completely intact, so I don't think it was that. There was a lot of brain bleeding, and not just on the back of my head near where the cut was, but around my whole head. There was a fracture on the right side, which was made by my brain from the shock of hitting the bottom. That's what the doctors told me. I also had a pretty severe concussion. So what he's saying there is that his skull was fractured by the brain. So that I think that's called a contre-coup concussion, when the brain rattles around inside the skull. It's kind of the general head knock that you get. But the severity of the brain, which is a generally pretty soft thing, unless you've been on the fried rice for fucking decades, in which case it might be rock hard, but I don't think Jow's been on the fried rice as far as I know.
Not as far as I know, no.
So the brain is smashed into the skull and broken the skull. That's what the doctors are saying.
That's what they're saying. It broke from the inside.
Yeah. And so he's had this brain bleed, and I believe, I think it was like 2 weeks or something before he regained consciousness. And obviously it's taken him a long time to get back in the water. But it sounds just like a more severe version of what Owen had, although I haven't read the book, and it's the same injury, essentially, but there's just levels to it.
But he's saying that this didn't happen on that wipeout. This happened duck diving or getting caught inside.
Which is what happened to Owen as well.
Exactly, man. And that was met with like a fair bit of skepticism, especially from... I mean, at the time, after the initial healing had gone down and people started to speculate, they were going, nah, man, that doesn't sound right. That's fucking bullshit.
He's on the bags. He's on the packets. Fucking relax.
I've duck dived 2-footers that have fucking thumped the living shit out of me, like proper, like just on sand.
One
not
thing
even
I was
reef.
forced to relearn on that trip at Backdoor is how fucking shallow it gets, how quickly. Like, the worst waves you can go out there are the 4 and 5 foot double ups that just go under the pack a little bit, and they take that inside track along the
and just
the
load
bricks.
up.
And load up. And, I got fucking back slammed and head slammed, and fortunately was wearing the gaff and had a few chips out of it.
Whoa.
But that's where he got done up. You can't paddle back out through there and get a serious wave on the head. You've fucking, a good chance of dying.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting that is the spot where it seems to go down, is that kind of inside shelf, right in front of the wave, where all that energy daggers and condenses. It's gotten 2 of the all-time greats, Owen and Jow champion waves of consequence.
Yeah,
mate,
2 guys
injury.
who know where to be on those waves. You know what I mean? Like, and I guess that's the danger when you're paddling back out. Sometimes you can't make subtle little adjustments to get around it. Like, if you're in the firing zone, if you're in that sort of fucking peak little apex moment where it's just loading up, it can, and obviously does, completely obliterate you in a way that can cause fucking maximum damage.
And it might be a little bit of a case of getting greedy and not wanting to do that full lap.
True.
Trying to kind of shoot back out through that backdoor zone when, you can so easily just get washed to the inside and have the best seat in the house of the sets at pipe. I fucking did that lap and was just sitting there with my feet like I was in a spa bath, getting me corn just nicely tickled by the effervescent bubbles as Mikey Red was knifing the wave of the day, an 8-foot pipe chamber of doom. I was loving life. It was all time.
Yeah.
As opposed to, trying to dart out through the fucking absolute meat grinder. Mate, I think as well, a lot of people, including the world's best, might not fully realise how shallow it is. It's impossible to know unless you go and diving and swimming out there when it's flat. You're not going to realise how bone dry that bit is.
Mate,
it elevates so quickly.
Have a look at the other 2 guys who have memorably been undone out there, like knocked unconscious on that exact bit of reef. Ross Clark-Jones, fucking tailboned out there and was completely knocked out. This is back in the 1990s.
Like paralysed on the beach.
And I believe, was it Wink or Kobe? One of those
Wink
two.
got done a little bit further down and off the wall. And Kobe famously gave him the headbutt of life.
Wake up!
While trying to save him, headbutted him back into consciousness. Unbelievable. It's rare that happens.
Yeah, but, you know, far out. I mean, it's amazing that these guys are the gnarliest dudes out there and they can still get caught by that section.
Mate,
That's so heavy.
And even crazier that Zhao Chianka on the lead up to that choke swell was one of the standouts, absolutely sending it. And you got to wonder, I mean, as he mentions in this interview, it can be a case of one step forward, two steps backwards. And Owen experienced a gnarly relapse a couple of years or a year after his serious injury.
Well,
after
retired because of it. Like, he missed the cut, but has officially retired from surfing waves of Coneheads because of that. Like, that was a big part of the reason why I stopped competing.
And I'll tell you what I don't recommend Zhao do after suffering a subdural hematoma as I did. That's to play another 10 years of semi-elite
Park Rugby League.
Rugby Union and League and rack up another 15 concussions. Don't do that, Zhao. Don't go down to the local league team and register. Just stay on your track.
Yeah.
Pin dropping out of bombs at chopes and pipe. You'll be fine, man.
Yeah. Well, his national sport would be football anyway, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend a whole lot of fucking searing headers into the back of the net either, especially off a Roberto Carlos cross. Probably not great for the lemon spread. But
Well, it's good
best
that
of luck, Zhao.
It's good that he's on the mend. And, I mean, there's been a few photos and a few sessions of him having a crack. So just slowly wins the race, mate.
Tell you what did worry me, Vaughan, was that he was wearing a Canterbury Rugby League headgear. So don't get any ideas, mate.
Oh, no.
Stay well and clear. The game of the greats. The body follows the mind, Vaughan. Taylor Knox goes deep on the mind-body connection
T-Knox.
and reveals how his tormented childhood led to one of the greatest sets of body mechanics and frontside rail techniques ever. The envy of none other than Mick Fanning, among others. Look, we said he was inimitable, but if anyone's come close to imitating the inimitable Tom Curren, it'd have to be TK Knox.
Yeah, all three Cooley kids' favourite surfer, I believe, at one stage or another. Dingo Morrison, schooled his entire full rail roundhouse figure eight on the T-Knox figure eight. So a hugely influential surfer. Had career highlights that were pretty fucking psycho. Like, rode at one point won, 55 grand or 56 grand for the highest wave of the winter.
That's
$1,000
right.
bucks for
Todos
every
or Cortez Bank or something.
$1,000 for every
Mad
foot
dog.
was the prize. Y2K, I believe it was called. Got a CT victory here or there, I think, maybe one or two in his career. But, was earmarked for a world title, Smithy. Probably the guy most likely outside of Slater and Machado from that Momentum crew to get it done. And he talks about that in this,
What about Greg Browning? What about Ross Williams?
Mate,
Not giving him a look in? Well, they didn't
I
become
know,
well,
yeah.
They're
Look,
dreaming.
there was a lot
Dozza?
of them. Yeah, there was a lot of them. Justin Poston and Jeremy Somerville and, all the greats from the early Taylor Steele Paul specimens.
Somervillians, bruh, doing these days,
I think he might have died.
Fuck.
Yeah, but R.I.P.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's a weird one, isn't it? It's
Sorry,
fuck, that's
look, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not going to. Look. Anyway, Taylor Knox, one of the great Momentum generation figureheads. But it's interesting in this little movie that we're talking about. Body follows the mind. 74,000 views on YouTube, Smithy. So
Is that it? I'll get it up there.
people are getting into it,
Come
but
on.
it's interesting, isn't it? Just how he says that the more pressure he felt and the less he succeeded, the harder he worked on his body. Whereas, he wasn't taking any rest. He wasn't paying any attention to the signals or anything. He just worked his body over until he was just exhausted. Couldn't actually barely surf heats.
And
Funny, isn't it? Because you do think, like, if I put in the work, I'll get the results. But the work covers everything.
Yeah, that's right. You got to train the mind as you train the body, and you got to work smarter, not harder sometimes. But just to be clear about what his condition was, he had some kind of spinal deformity, and it required him to wear this bizarre rubber brace a la Forrest Gump. So unbelievable that from there, this tormented kid getting teased and bullied, getting around in this huge brace that covered most of his torso, to then develop one of the greatest styles of all time. I mean,
you can imagine it, can't you? You can imagine him sort of tic-tacking down the line with his brace on, just going, and then all of a sudden there's a big fucking unit behind him who he's burnt, and he's trying to outrun him, and everyone's going, carve, bonehead, carve, and the brace flies off, and all of a sudden he just does this big figure eight, whacka, just a rebound straight in the bully's face, and he's fucking all of a sudden he's just on his way.
Absolutely,
Full
yeah.
Gump style.
Oh, mate, where's the feature film? Forget about this 74,000 hit YouTube.
Yeah.
Just absolute melter. We want the big screen, silver screen spesh on Knoxy, bro. And after a run like that, you could forgive him for, developing a style more a la, a Devid Silver or a Flavio Patarats, maybe even a Jao Chianca. But no.
Yeah.
He becomes this Curren-esque, Fenning-esque absolute technician. The irony, Vaughan, to go from a crippled youth to one of the most fluent frontside rail technicians of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, speaks volumes about the grit and determination.
It does. You can see why, Taylor Knox and St. Mick of Penrith are such good mates. These are two guys who understood at some point in their careers, they found that sort of recipe, didn't they, where the mind, the body and the soul, it's just one organism. And when one system is failing, you can lean on the other two to help get that other one back into synchronicity and to a place of, feeling good about yourself. The things they have in common, aside from the grit, is just the fucking amount of knowledge they poured into themselves so that when they are faced with adversity or hardship, they're able to overcome. Like, it's an excuse almost to be better than where they're at. Like, and they've just shown that time and again, haven't they? Both those guys. Like, it's fucking remarkable, really.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You see people's frequencies match up and their friendships deepen, whether it's jiu-jitsu or surfing or football. It's like there's this kind of respect or, let's say, intuitive connection based on a shared experience, and that is very much evident among grit merchants. You can detect the frequency, and there is just something that you know about them without them even having to tell you. And the relationship deepens and connects from there. So, yeah, amazing that those two Rip Curl stalwarts and tour stalwarts right through Fanning's kind of halcyon days. TK was there, shrouping, ripping the top off him. And, just fuck, mate, two of Rip Curl's all-time greats during the noise.
I think he was right on hand for a lot of Mick's most vulnerable, painful, fucking crazy moments. And then that formed the bedrock for him to be the ultimate support man when Mick was surfing for world titles. So...
it's the grit merchants.
It's the grit merchants.
They see it coming.
Yeah.
And they step in and help because
it's the grit merchant 1%ers. Smithy.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And also, he doffed the cap to the Keeley meditation practice, which I'd never heard of. An interesting mind hack, kind of coming out of that Southern Californian space. Probably has some connections to your Stanislav Groffs, your Timothy Learys, your Ram Dussers. They're all from that zone. And basically, the Keeley meditation practice, which is kind of the bedrock of this film in some ways, or it's a big part of it, is an understanding of the difference between the brain and the mind. Once you learn how to get into the mind, you begin to see independent of everything that has been taught to you. So you get to kind of move around the programming. That is such a problem for so many people. They've just been conditioned by fucking stupid, skull-fucked parents, telling them to get the house with a picket fence and the dog and the 2.3 children, and no emotional education, mindfulness training, just succeed in the material world and you'll be happy.
Dude, it's fucking wild.
It's not true, Vaughan.
No.
It's a pile of steaming horseshit.
Yep. And actually, I was just lying in bed thinking about this last night. You know the bed karate nights.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're lying there. You just, for some reason, even if it's not head noise, Smithy, you can just have this body anxiety that you've built up over a few days or whatever. I was having one of those nights. I couldn't sleep. I was just going, fuck, I feel kind of shitty. And
you rolled over and you saw the Hong Kong and you brushed that aside. And you saw the Zennies, you brushed that aside. You went in for a bit of Keely. Is that what you did?
I didn't, but I did tap into that thinking of like, okay, what's going on here? Like, I've got a choice. I can let this feeling just invade me because the head noise rushes in on the back of it. Like, soon as you get one negative thought, the fucking door opens and you get flooded with it, right?
just to explain what's happening on a physiological level.
Yeah.
When you have under 6 hours of sleep, the amygdala, the threat detection system in the brain, is overactive. And essentially what that means is that you're just going to be overwhelmed with thoughts. That's why when you wake up at 3 a.m, it's just like a fucking thought-a-thon.
It sounds like you're at a fucking concert and everyone's screaming abuse at you. You're playing the worst gig of your life and everyone's going, boo, get off your fucking cunt. And there's nowhere to go. There's no exit. You just got to stand there and cop it and you don't know what to do. But just on that difference between mind and brain, like, or that what was it, mind and brain.
No, that's it.
So I just went, all right, look, this is a moment. I'm just going to sit with it because I also, as you said, you grab the Xannies, you grab the bong, like you're fucking just masking it. It's all going to get louder, mate. They're going to fucking hate you even worse next time you get on stage. And I just went, just sit with it, just fucking breathe through it, and got back to sleep pretty quickly. Like I was like pretty stoked that, from all of the wisdom that we've acquired over the years of doing this potty, I had this mechanism that I could go to, which was basically not to panic or let it overwhelm me, which I don't know if I could have done that 5 years ago even.
Yeah.
It felt good, man. And it doesn't work all the time. And the number one thing that I took away from it last night was I was just going, just don't get on the bandwagon with all these voices. Like, just be kind to yourself, man. Just let them have their say, try and breathe through it. And eventually it left me. And it was the being kind to myself that was the actual key, because that separated my brain from my emotions, kind of thing, if you know what I mean. So it was nice.
Yeah, the solution to thinking is generally not more thinking.
Yes.
It's
well
the doing
said.
of something.
That's it.
I.e., your options basically, the Wim Hof method jams a bunch of oxygen into where that amygdala is and gives it a little massage. So
it was good.
Calms down the overactive threat detecting system. I think CBD oil is an anxiolytic, so I think it has some kind of numbing effect on that region of the brain. And meditation.
Like, just to be like frank about it, like I'm thinking about real world shit. I'm thinking about my fucking, the things I've got to pay, bills I've got to pay, like things that I've got to do that I don't have time to, like all these little things that just build up into a big thing. So
it's like a negative spin on everything.
Yeah, but exactly. It's a negative spin, but it's not make believe shit. It's real shit. So it's how you're approaching it. I mean, it's all talked about in this film. I really recommend checking it out.
Fuck, it's a good film, man.
It's good, isn't it? It's only 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Give it a chance, mate. Fucking TK will be frothing.
Mate, he's ripping in the film. That was the other part. I mean, the guy's in his 50s and surfing so good. We're all about longevity on this program now that we're both entering our twilight in ways. Plenty of tube time ahead of us.
That's a funny one. Like when you're lying there thinking, "Fuck, mate, you're too old for this shit, mate. You should give up, bro. You fucking."
Then you flick on the TK clinic, and he's just ripping the bag out of it, getting fully coned.
As good as he's ever done it, mate. The front side hack, as good as they've ever been. Good shit. It's called The Body Follows the Mind.
Yeah.
Taylor Knox, YouTube, watch it.
Number one? Number two?
Oh, is it number two?
Wait, 5, 4, 3.
Doesn't matter. Another number two.
Yeah. Well, who knows?
Who cares?
The Indo season is officially underway, and it's bombing Vaughan, and the Florence brothers are stuffing their face in triple overhead pipeline.
Oh, big surprise there, Smitty.
Nate and Ivan flew in to meet a huge swell and got piped out of their minds, while brother John was packing his pineal gland to the brim 1,000 k's east in Tiapo.
Yep.
And sick to see the brothers sharing the aloha, calling the small crew of surfers out there into waves, even slow-mowing a few of their waves in the edit.
Yeah.
And, yeah, look, we talked about this in the Chopes episode, Vaughan. You made a really good point. The difference between having a crack and knowing what to do when you're in that situation is worlds apart.
Oh, yeah.
And this clip is a great example of that. You're seeing punters who surf, really good, just your classical kind of intermediate expert level, probably be a black belt if there was a belt system in surfing. They've done their 10 to 20, 30 years in the brine. And they're doing everything right to stay under it, knife the drop, set a perfect line into the pit. But for some reason, they just get chewed up over and over again. And, it just made me think about the difference between a make and a non-make is not even discernible to the eye a lot of the time. It's as small as, leaning forward, angling up, just weight distribution, ability to anticipate a bump or a rib, the air sucking into you as it's about to blow out. Like, there's just all these things going on that you kind of have to be anticipating, not just holding on, as you mentioned, Vaughan. It's crazy, huh? Because you're watching these clips and you're like, oh, this is the way of this guy's life. He's coming out of this thing for sure.
Yeah.
No. It happened over and over again. I'm like, fuck, what's going on? And then Ivan and Nate, it's like they're nearly nodding off in there. They're on the Murray Cod.
Oh, yeah.
It is like, it's just classical Indo, no wobbles or warps on the drop, just the most groomed, perfect entry into an almondy but consequential and fully hollow pit. And, it's just so easy for him.
I couldn't
learn.
Oh, no, it's fucking unbelievable. And I don't know what these people are seeing that we're not seeing. The only thing I can put it down to, Smithy, is that they're just a bit more relaxed. Like where everyone else might have just that little bit of stress, like a little bit hectic, like they know it's the way, like all of the sort of just body energy that goes into surfing waves like that, it just adds a little bit too much adrenaline where I don't know if those guys have adrenaline. Like, did you cop the fucking Conor Maguire pit from HTs at like triple XL HTs? Cunt looks like he's riding a fucking fold-out deck chair on the side of a pool. Pina colada in one hand, guillotine fucking shaving hair off his face on the other. And he just sort of does this, like, most lackadaisical fucking, like, effortless line into the beast of this thing. Like, it's not even a bottom turn, dude. It's almost just like, oh, yeah, I guess I'll pull in. Like, it's got that vibe to it.
He just angles under it.
The board's
right
so
next
big.
to him. He's basically doing his hair in the lip
Comes
line.
out and just, like, slurps the fucking dregs out of his pina and just fucking flies out into the channel 6 miles into the channel where there's no hope of getting a fucking roll through on his head. It has to come down to adrenaline. Like, that's the only thing I can put it down to. Because if you're a little bit more at peace in those sichos, you're way more aware of what's going on. Like, that's coming from...
it's coming from a man who's blown 1,000 life-changing waves.
1,000 potentially best ever life waves. Fucking cooked, smoked to ribbons, tail between legs, head fucking slumped, shoulders slumped, coming up the beach, just fucking mortified and embarrassed. I know a thing or two about what it's like to cook those waves, maybe.
I think a lot of it has to do with, you knife the drop, you get in the tube, it's coning, you're in the wave of your life, and you think sometimes the job's done. Part of you's like, I've gotten into this thing, I've set my line. What more can I do but sit back and enjoy this moment? Whereas the elite guys, the job's never done until they're sipping their pina colada on the exit.
That's it.
Getting high-fived and
mate, it's a
shouting
good
in
point.
praise.
Fucking good point you make, because, like, I've jumped through foam balls where I jump going, oh, fuck, foam ball, it's a closeout, and jumped through the foam ball into fucking clean air and perfect viz. I've got no board under me. I've like hit doggy doors at like Chichikan, that fucking big slabby closeout that fucking will let you out occasionally, or you doggy door it, and just going, fuck, where do you go from here? Or how do you doggy door on a wave this size that's fucking draining that hard? And Kersey fucking saw me get absolutely clamped out there on a pretty solid one. He was like, why didn't you fucking doggy door it? I was like, I didn't know how to, mate. So, yeah, like, everything that is, like, yeah, I've done my time, mate. I've fucking spent so much time in the ocean, just like you have. But that knowledge and that never give up only comes from surfing so much that you know there's an option. Like, I think, in a big clean barrel and you're not just fucking racing and paying attention to every little molecule, the odds are you'll get fucking bucked by a foam ball or jag it. Like if you jag it, yeah, wave your life for sure. But if you don't jag it, there's a lot of shit that can fucking happen in a short space of time that you might not be fucking sharp to.
It's a great metaphor for the paradox of human experience where in order to make these waves, you have to be so locked in that you don't even get to really enjoy the experience. You're so in the present moment.
Yeah.
You sometimes don't even remember what just transpired because it all happened so quick and you were so fixated on the exit and doing everything right. Whereas, the dream is the dream in surfing really is to be deep in the pit and know you're coming out.
Mate.
And as soon as you get deep in the pit, you often anticipate that you're coming out, but the job's not done yet. And we all want that experience. It's the pinnacle of human existence.
It is fucking Buddha or Siddhartha sitting under the fucking tree and just reaching a state of pure enlightenment. And Solly Bailey talked about this on his big one at Cloudy's. He reached a point. He was in it for so long, paying so much fucking attention to everything that he finally hit this glassy bit and just stopped thinking and stopped looking at all the shit and hit this moment. He could hear angels singing. He could hear the breath of God. He could hear fucking... He just said he was just so in the moment and so aware of everything that he had kind of like reached a different state of being. To me, that's the spot. Because we all get it from time to time. These guys, I reckon, especially get it quite often, or a lot more than the rest of us.
Absolutely.
Mortals. Demigods, Smithy.
Oh, yeah, they are. This is controversial news. Big news.
Ooh.
Out of the surfing, bodyboarding, hybridization realm.
Ooh.
Noz Deane is set to have the smegma ripped clean from his old fella for generations to come. An intergenerational prong cleanse.
Yep.
Rinsed corn. That's what's on the cards for Noz. He's been invited to participate in one of the world's great dick dragging contests. Not a dick swinging contest, nor a dick measuring contest. Dick dragging.
Yes.
The Shark Island Challenge, Vaughan. The immortal, iconic, old school slab fest.
Yeah. I remember Mike Stewart came out for it
Shire.
once. That put the big tick of approval on the Shark Island Challenge. Not that they needed him. I mean, they're a different breed down there, the Boogs from the Shire. But, yeah, I remember when Stewart came out. It was a big day. I think it was cooking too.
Oh, it's always cooking for that
Fucking
comp.
cooking.
That's the beauty of it. They never seem to miss out. And Noz is going to be on the sponge, getting his old fella absolutely bathed in the crystalline ointment. Here's what the organisers had to say about the decision. Arguably possessing one of the most impressive, multifaceted wave riding resumes on the planet currently, we are stoked to announce that at I Love Tables, that's Noah's Instagram handle, has accepted his invitation to compete in the 2024 Bodyboard Kingdom Shark Island Challenge. With phenomenal skills on both the boog and the stand-up, Noah's ability to read the unpredictable nature of the world's varying oceanic conditions is something to be admired and celebrated. Rarely does a piece of watery ocean meet, a phrase constantly used by the man himself when it comes to waves of conequence, go by in a session that Noah hasn't successfully torn into and stylishly devoured. Nom, 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 nom. We now wait in anticipation to see what this controversial yet warranted and deserved wild card can muster up on the infamous rock shelf known as Shark Island.
Well, fuck, who wrote that?
Yeah, some Hemingway of the ocean.
Ace Buchan?
Well,
we'll get to that.
yes.
But, yeah, mate, that's exciting. It adds an element of the unknown to this event, you know. I mean, we know that we've all seen him get proper coned on various slabs around the place, but usually it feels like as a bit of an afterthought. But I know that he goes booging. Well, I've surfed fucking Lighthouse Beach at Ballina with him where he just was on the boog, didn't even look at his board.
And the word on the street is that he boogs a lot more than his Instagram profile lets on. So, you know, he makes a living as a professional surfer.
Yeah.
Clicks are his currency, and he's not going to be posting clips of himself bodyboarding. So, yeah, apparently he's been knifing a lot
Yeah.
of meaty little urchin-encrusted slabs all over the joint. There's just not a whole lot of footage kicking around of it. His best mate and filmer, Katie, an OG or kind of like a modern slab lord on the Boog. He's
Yep.
I want to say professional bodyboarder, but it's fucking not really such a thing for 99% of them. They're all just doing it for the love in their hatchbacks on the beans and brown rice call or diet. So Noah had this to say about this very, very esteemed invitation. Never thought when I was booging Froggy's backwash as a Grom on my Chapel O&E boog, I would end up in the Shark Island Challenge. This is actually bonkers. Thank you for this opportunity. But
Shout out to O&E for getting Noz on his first fucking boog.
how good, eh? You forget that O&E were forerunners in the hybridized surf space, going deep into boogland, bodyboards and bodyboard apparel.
When bodyboarding had its moment back in the... look, I'm no bodyboarding expert, but like when I first... Okay, look. When
late 90s, early 90s.
Yeah, but no, earlier than that. When I first started buying Waves Mag, it had a bodyboarding excerpt in the back of it.
Wow.
And that featured heaps of the crew from Shark Island. And yeah, I mean, I don't know where we went off track there. Maybe that hyper masculine 80s, just fucking muscle flexing, ripped shirt, fucking layered off that went down in that time sort of created this shortboarding fucking, I don't know, like fucking ego or superiority complex.
Well, it's classism 101,
it is,
boy.
of course it is.
Got to keep these
there was
these
a time.
paupers down, otherwise they're going to start eating into our abundant stores of wave riches.
Who's responsible for it, I wonder? Because when I first started working at tracks...
It's like the Hutus and the Tutsis. It's
Mate,
like
was,
the South African elites versus the massive, the black population there. You got to just skull fuck them until they hate themselves.
I think what happened, right, was that the surf media was primarily focused on shortboarding. And once the fucking big shortboarders started going, these fucking lids are wasting waves and all that, there was no counter argument because they were the best surfers and they got to sort of dictate what was going to be cool or not. You know what I mean? Like that was the voice of the 80s surf mags, 90s surf mags, and so on. But yeah, I remember when I was at Tracks, man, or not at Tracks. I actually saw this when I was a young guy buying Tracks. They had a full page of disses for books, like a newspaper, a broadsheet, full page with 12-point fucking insults for books. So it's wild, man, but it's so good now that we've gone beyond that. Like,
fuck, that was a toxic chapter of surfing.
Weird time.
It was gross. And a lot of the fucking relics from that
it wasn't
age.
just books, mate. It was women. It was fucking
mate.
Nilos. It was everything.
Everything that wasn't you was a fucking piece of shit.
That's it. Yeah.
Gronk. And a lot of those relics are still kicking around our lineups, fucking flapping around, spouting off. Fuck off!
Isn't it funny though? Like, you know, in meantime, the Boogs don't give a fuck. They'll just go to whatever slab they want to surf it by themselves.
They weren't even surfing
fucking
the same
push
waves.
air games through the roof, and like next thing you know, Slater does a rodeo clown in the 2000 Pipe Masters or something, and Boog World's looking at it going, what, fucking half decent, semi-inverted, fucking not made ARS? Wake up, surfing!
That thing was fucked up, by the way. I think it was the 99 Mountain Dew Pipe Masters.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And
it was a
cool biggest, cleanest.
But clearly a fucking bodyboard-inspired move.
Absolutely.
And he said as much, the goat.
Didn't stick it. But has anyone ever attempted that move on the pipe end bowl since? It was a big wave. It was like in that 6 foot, 8 foot kind of range.
Jamie O'Brien was doing them on sort of like smaller days at Rocky Point. But yeah, that was a solid one. And he's on a fucking 7-1 or something.
Mate, how crazy to reflect on
it's like
that
an airplane
maneuver.
wing.
Dude, it's wild.
But that's Boog. That's Boog influence. That's Boog spec.
Mate, if you grew up in if you were surfing in the late 90s, early noughties, as I've said on the program in the past, you couldn't help but be infatuated with bodyboarding because, you know, prior to that, you'd grown up and the pinnacle of tube riding in the surfing space was kind of the G-Land Pro videos, Pipeline, obviously. But, you know, generally they were these kind of little moments of incredible Vishnu.
Yeah.
But generally it's like, you know, pocket rides, shallow barrels on sand bottom point breaks. And then all of a sudden these cunts were fucking knifing it from deep, skittering across shockwaves and foam balls, getting blown out. And they're waves that were like a fucking hour to 4-hour drive from my shitty inner city slop fest, and the cunt who was doing it was sitting next to me in the lounge room ripping hot ones. So you're kidding me?
Well, I reckon shout out to Tim Benithan, who always made sure that there was, body lid sections in his movies, all the early Hawaii 9-0s and whatnots. The classic, Benithan, mate. Fucking hell.
How are those,
Classic dude.
the froggies out of the lip
Yeah,
at Waimea
yeah.
Shore? Iconic. Oh,
Yeah.
that was a golden age.
But, look what Boog culture has given to surfing now. Like, we've got, Dane, Noah, fucking Harry Bryant, like all that crew getting literally schooled on how to get entry points on waves that were thought to be unsurfable. We've got some of the best cinematographers and surfers, surf photographers all over the globe come from Boog spec. So I just think that it's fucking next level, mate. Like, it's over. The war is over. Am I wrong?
Oh,
It
yeah.
has to be. Like, what sort of fucking 9-ball is out there fucking getting cranky at Boogs these days?
Yeah, not
But
many.
mind you, Snapper, and there's a few places where, the old ways will continue to be for some time.
The fun of the wave, the bigger the fuckwits, it seems to me, Vaughan.
Yeah.
So, the real core lord, kingpin, masculine types go and send it on slabs where there's a lot of camaraderie and kinship
That's right.
amongst Boog and Stick.
And shout out to Drag Board Co. I reckon they've played a big role in bridging the two classes.
Just around the corner
two
from us
cultures.
here in the Byron
Yeah.
Bourgeois Industrial Estate, Vaughan.
Fantastic.
Another essential
I love
service, soft tops and bodyboards. But they are essential.
It's true.
Waiting period starts in June too, Vaughan. So we're right in the mix. Oh, and before we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves because not everyone was so stalked on the appointment. of
So there
Noz.
was a blow up from
There
within the
was a
bodyboarding
blowback,
fraternity. It's
Vaughan.
not just all fucking. See, I just think bodyboarders are indifferent to surfers. I reckon they just go fucking whatever, dude.
Yeah, but there's the core guys, the
But
hardcore.
we hung out with Whitey and the Grin Reapers, mate. We know those cunts. We fucking know.
Yes, but Whitey's an elite in the bodyboarding world in the eyes of some.
Mm-hmm.
There is those hardcore, straight edge, grim grit merchants. You don't want a bar of some fucking hoity-toity Gold Coast stick in there, Slabfest,
Yep.
and they've been heard on
What
the
are they
comment
saying?
thread.
Spill the beans.
Well, we had this nasty spray from a trad troll, Ryan Hardy, Ben Player, Kingy, Garth McGregor, Tomega, George Humphreys, Davis Blackwell, Nugget Rawlins, any of the video trial entries who live to boogie. The list goes on and on, but some guy who's a B-grade pro stand-up with limited spots in the comp, sarcastic thumbs up and a couple of laughing smiley faces. I don't know if he's a B-grade pro. He's probably the fucking best in the world at what he does. But then, Vaughan, this is when the maudlin music kicks in and you start to wipe a tear from the old eye because far from a pylon ensuing, a reverse pylon happened, Vaughan.
Wow. A reverse pylon.
That's it, a reverse pylon. They were all just in rewind, breakdancing, electric boogalooing off the pylon.
Yep.
As bodyboarding greats lined up to give the troll a spray. Chris White, Dane Woods, Chris James, Andrew Lester, Mitch Rawlings, Jeff Hubbard, all ripping trolls off the pylon to give the man suffocating beneath it all a bit of much-needed oxygen. They're just ripping him off. Get off him! Yeah, waiting period starts in June.
Fuck, mate.
Tune in,
You know
Shark
what?
Island
The
Challenge.
Australian ninja fucking jumping into a pylon and starting to get fucking physical, throwing cunts, folding cunts, getting fucking serious.
Jiu-Jitsu black belt, he'll fucking cave a couple of trolls, that's for sure.
That's mad. Oh, that's cool. That's real cool. But I mean, yeah, I get it. It's like, it's like the Hawaiian thing where they give away a few wild cards in the Pipe Masters or whatever, and they're like, nah, man, we're all about the fucking locals. Come on, give the locals a few shout-outs. Like, we don't need fucking this cunt and that cunt flying in from overseas to surf our comp. And, like, it is an old comp, Smithy. Been around a long time. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But, it's going to be... I think if he just turns up and fucking packs it, the bodyboarding world will doff the cap for the Noz.
Well, the pressure's on.
The pressure will be on.
He now has to pack it.
He knows how to pack it. We know that.
Oh, we do. But, mate, he's going to have to send on a set to get any kind of plaudits or respect or even acknowledgement from those angry trolls in between their gluttonous chowing down of cheesels and blowing of ghost loads to red tube porn. They're a grim bunch, so they're hard to win over. We know that.
Under or over?
Conehead Solly Bailey's Conical Opus is a guaranteed candidate for Edit of the Year. I just had to have my say on this because it blew my Conehead right off.
Yeah.
We've had him on the program and gone deep on it, but wow. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Nah.
Crazy. He's found his place in the surfing space, Solly, in this kind of, let's say, twilight of his surfing career. He's got decades ahead of him when it comes to packing cones and mortal consequence. As a paid surfer, who knows? I say yes. Keep giving him the loot to travel the world because he's one of the purest technicians in the cone zone that we've ever seen. And we kind of knew that, given his victory at Pipe and some clips here and there, but this last 12 months to 2 years of his career has been fucking mind-melting. Shippies, Cloud Break, that crazy fucked up point break with Katie and Timo Simmers and Matt Rode. And just a bunch of sessions in Conehead that are fucking spellbinding. The first wave that he surfs in it had the absolute displeasure of surfing that wave at a very similar size. And I was so curious as to what it would look like to see a guy of that level out there because the ledge is so perfect. There is an entry, but as soon as there's an entry, the entry's gone and the thing's beyond vertical, like a cupped out airdrop scenario. But it's so clean and predictable, the ledge. You know that those guys, the Sollies, the Russ Bjerks, will find a line into it. And he does in the opening section of this Conehead Conical Bonanza. Mate, it's so technical because there's just no room for error in conditions like that. It's a knifing airdrop into a 6 to 8 foot slab of a backless fucking slab, a long way from help if you blow it. And you really, in waves of that kind of consequence, maybe you get one wipe out a session. Your make rate's got to be nearly perfect.
Yeah. I think he's not just a walk-up start for Clip of the Year. He's a real contender for most coned of 2024. Last year, undeniable, Nate Florence took that. I think maybe the year before, Mason Ho or someone. But every time he appears, he's in some fucking heathenistic, mutilated, fucked up wave or riding through just this behemoth that is not a drop out of place. Perfect. So
as big and hollow as it gets. What a fucking
year. And I agree with you, but it's funny because, we were talking about Steph and her motivation at the start of this program. And I just feel like maybe it just takes some time to find yourself as a surfer when you've been through the system and in the sort of the lock of expectation. You've suffered the disappointment of maybe not reaching your goals, or you're addicted to the fucking constant sort of need to win, or whatever it is, like that system of what a professional surfing life looks like. It can only really have longevity once you tap into a motivation at some point that is going to be everlasting. Because if you just are looking for the fucking quick fix, it won't last, man. You'll burn out. Like it can't happen. And why Curren has been just fucking ageless, really, is because he tapped into that really quickly after pro surfing. Like, he got on the search and his motivation was just to fucking surf as many different waves as perfectly as he could. And then to the point where he started just having to fuck around with boards because he was just so good at it. Steph, she needs to find what Solly's found, I reckon. But not to go down the Steph road, to stay on the Solly road. Man, how cosmic is it when someone finds exactly what they should be doing? In that interview, and if you want to go back and listen to it, Swellians, just it's a couple of scrolls back, not too far at all. There we talk about like all the barrels, where he's at in his life, and it makes fucking perfect sense that you're going to be in the right place at the right time if you're fucking right in touch, synchronized as fuck with your motives, man.
That's it.
And your motive has to come from a place of pure fucking, like, release.
It's so true.
And connection to self, nature, all the rest of it.
And it takes males in particular probably to their late 20s to really understand, to get that kind of emotional maturity, to understand what makes them tick, what they want. I mean, you grow up coming through the pro junior ranks, the QS ranks, the C.
It's a hard thing to bust out of, man.
Yeah, and the industry wants you to do a certain thing, and it doesn't fit, but you kind of forcing
and you feel like a failure if you're not ticking boxes that don't even mean anything to you. So that's the weirdest thing.
And now he's got a sponsor. And O'Neill have done this with a few of their athletes, Russ Björk, Lockie Rambouts, and now Solly, where they've encouraged them to be the surfer they want to be.
Yeah.
And mate, the products, the results of that have been unbelievable. This is the pinnacle of surfing, what Solly's doing. It doesn't get better, in my opinion, and I think most people's opinion, when it boils down to it, being able to park yourself in the heaviest, hollowest waves that planet Earth can create and do it generally under your own strength and own steam, paddling into them, that's got to be the pinnacle, doesn't it?
Definitely.
I'll watch that stuff if my hair was on fire, and I'll watch it forever and I'll applaud it forever. They're waves I don't want to bar of, and I'm fascinated to see what the absolute limits of it is, because it's so based in courage and bravado. There's so much risk in it. And if you've ever been around these kinds of waves, you've looked into the guts of these things and just thought, wow, like how the fuck do you even get into that?
I know. And then on the flip, like not the flip side, but the reward, I guess, when you're doing it a lot and you're in a good place and you know that you love it. You want to be there. You're not trying to figure it out. You're going, oh, God, give me another one. I'm like, not even give me. Just like fucking sitting with it, enjoying every moment, enjoying every molecule, and fuck, it just keeps giving.
And it's a rare breed that wants that. And that breed should be encouraged and supported by the industry. And we're starting to see it a lot.
We are.
Your Nate Florences, your Sollys, your Russes, even like a Torren Martin, he's found his place.
For sure he's in that club. For sure. In a different sort of way, like not so much the Mondo Triple XL Coneheads. Yeah, fucking oath he packs it. He can probably go there if he wanted to. But yeah, it's a really cool time to see so many just I guess soul explorers doing their biz.
And the industry supporting that and seeing the value in it. And it's cool because these guys, they're not really blowing out waves in the sense of like, no one wants to surf these waves. It's a showcase of the outer limits of courage and skill and technical ability under immense pressure. So that's something I'll always back. It's also a mad Byronian production. This is a epic pub rock classic from the old mate Nicholas Ringo Colby to open up proceedings, and bookended by a Parkway Drive hardcore glam metal spectacular.
North Coast represent.
It's a homegrown production. They had the premiere just at Byron Bolo the other week, and a well played, a massive. Vaughan Marzo's back on the books with Ruka. Can you believe it?
I can. Sometimes the surf gods smile on the right people at the right time, Smithy, and Clay Marzo. I mean, still doing shit that not many people can do on planet Earth. Where's he at in his career? Where's he at in his life? Where is he at in general? Fuck knows. But geez, he deserves to be sponsored and surfing. That's all I know, Smithy.
Might be able to type his own shoelaces or do the washing up. But fuck, he can pack it, and he can rotate, and he can pull off glitch cones and surrealist aerial maneuvers. And he definitely fits that exact category we were just talking about, who deserves industry support because he showcases the outer limits of what's possible in this aquatic caper of ours.
Yeah, and might go stand in a corner in a crowded room and look down at those untied shoelaces. But my word, can he thread the cones, Smithy. Plenty of... he's the marquee rider, right, on team now. I mean, there was a bit of a clear out when Tenore started his company. A lot of crew just did the old straight overboard or into the Tenore life raft. But Ruka's got some legs there. I think they've got Baron Mamiya still on team as well. And maybe is Betty Lou on Ruka. I Can't remember, but there's definitely like a little team there. Clay Marzo's a good addition. I like a culture spono. I reckon it's a good thing, man. Like, it's good for a company to go like, who are we? What's our identity? And just revisit that and just say, fuck, we want to be this. This guy or this girl fits our program perfectly, and there's plenty of them out there.
Oh, mate, it's for me, it's as high performance a surf sponsorship as you can imagine.
Yeah.
You know, you're just basically bankrolling this sublime talent to surf the way they want to surf.
Yeah.
Fuck, do it. That's great.
Fully.
I don't want to see round pieces jammed through a square hole. I just want to see amazing surfing, whether it's Jai, Glindo, or Marzo, or Solly, or Russ, or Torment, whoever it is. Like, just these guys are amazing talents. Even Tosh Tudor's kind of beginning to enter that category. They draw unique lines on unique equipment. They've all got their own spin on things. That kind of, to me, is what separates the weed from the chaff. Is just having some X factor somewhere in your surfing that makes it fun to watch.
That's
all
it,
has to
man.
be.
And
It's
really,
all it has
like,
to
the
be.
only missing link in this world is like, who are going to be the first wave of, adventurous, because they're out there, but who's going to be on the front line of women's free surfing and culture shifting? You know what I mean? Like, there's a space that needs to be filled because
Throw Paige Arms some loot. Chick's been packing it on
mate,
Jaws
there's
West
so
Bowls for
many.
decades.
There's so many.
Mania.
Like, they're
Talia Redguard, dude. She's
Exactly.
a no-brainer. She is the best tube rider in the world, I'm calling, in women's surfing. I would love to see a Vahine Fierro.
But we are
Milana
yet to
Jones-Wong,
see the
Talia
big
Redguard superheat.
Yeah, they're there. They're there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're not there, but there's a massive hole in that market for women's surfing because there's a lot of great personalities. There's some fucking good shred lords coming on this next wave as well. As far as like air games and tube riding and fucking adventurism and all that shit is concerned, man.
Adventurism's an interesting concept. That Maps to Nowhere has been such an incredible series. And there is kind of a window there, just a mix of like Surfing versus Alone, that TV series.
Yeah.
Just sending these grit merchants out into the wilds of Alaska or, the tropics, the kind of Second Thoughts, Timmy Turner, Travis Potter spec, like Jungle Feral Steez, like that's always a fascinating.
And I will
one.
say this: it's not up to the companies to the companies will pay attention to anyone who's got a good idea these days. You know what I mean? So like Tyron Martin's doing that shit whether he's got support or not. That's the vibe you get. Like Mason's going to go and surf on dry rock whether he's got support or not. Like these are just things that they want to do, and that's what I'm saying. Like there's all these women out there who are already doing it. Fucking, it'd be sick to see someone just start going, oh. Yeah, I'll have a piece of that, for sure. Let's take a chance on that.
Mate, someone has got to get onto Talia and throw a bit of loot. Give her a little travel budget. I talk to her fairly often, and, mate, she's so hungry. She's such a fucking grit merchant, slab queen, and the world still hasn't really seen anything of what she's capable of. Go check her and Mick's ex-partner, Mick Campbell's YouTube channel. Fuck, I can't remember what it's called, but it's just her getting fucking throated and catching huge gropers. Maniac. Tosh Tudor's tube therapy, Vaughn. I'm not sure how to feel about this. Like, on the one hand, watching Tosh Tudor stylishly navigate Mexican orbs backside with that parallel stance to an groovy Afro disco soundtrack.
That sounds like it's in your wheelhouse.
It is.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I thoroughly enjoy it.
I could see you on the Orange Sunshine, like a bandana on, jumbe over shoulder, flared sort of cotton or linen pants.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting on the beach, getting in the moment, few little high lines and parallel stance tubes by Tosh out front. Next thing he's come in, little marshy fest, dancing under the stars.
100%.
Getting right in the zone.
In my wheelhouse. And I like that he's kind of riding these, fun board, tube shooter hybrids that just have enough. It's just pulled in enough of the right rail foil to get the early entry, but still be able to hold a line through some chamber after chamber when he goes to deserts and stuff. But then the other part of me is like, you're watching this son of a surf titan, a blue blood as opposed to a blue collar grit merchant. He's not self-made. He's been chaperoned into success and a surf career for the same company that sponsors his dad. And, it's old-fashioned Southern Californian surf nepotism writ large. And I get hot under the collar sometimes. I just want to jump inside that screen and just stuff him inside one of those playful cones he spent 40 minutes navigating. Yeah, I just don't know how to feel about it. What is it that's welling up inside?
Yeah, no, let me put your mind at ease here because you're not the first, maybe. You're not the first. Tosh was one of the benefactors of a van sponsorship of the Pipeline Masters once it left the tour. They had, an invitation-only comp. Of course, just like Noz in the Shark Island Challenge, few upturned noses, a few fucking, fists into palms at the thought that this young Californian single fin aficionado was going to get a start in the holiest of holy hole fests. But Tosh proved himself, mate. I think you'll recall he stuffed some fucking immense cones in that comp, like big closets too, but with full Lopez spec, big roll-ins, delayed bottom turns, sets up the fucking chamber, gets absolutely drilled, spewed out in a few instances. 17 at the time, maybe even younger. And since then, he's popped up here and there. I don't even know if the pathway has been perhaps a little easier for him in terms of opportunity. That's a fair call. But I've had 2 sessions with Tosh in the last 6 months.
Yeah, same. Nice kid.
Nice kid, but one
Very
was at
polite.
Cloudbreak and it was fucking huge. And he was getting so throttled, like fucking gargled on the foamy. Absolutely packing it. No stress. Fully just doing the sickest lines ever you've ever seen. And again, at another little Indo reef just recently on the backhand. And I was just like, cunt's legit.
Yeah, he surfs
He's
amazing.
legit. And I don't know, I agree. Like,
In playful waves, though. They like the cloud break. I mean, how big are we talking? 6 to 8?
oh,
Roll-ins?
no, a couple of bigger
frontside?
ones. But I don't, how much bigger does he have to surf? Like, his fucking style is so easy on the eye, man. It's like fucking just massage that fucking sweet juice into my fucking corneas, man. It's good stuff.
It's just something about those boards, though. The economy of movement required to thread chamber after chamber. I mean, you get the early entry, you set a line, and then you're basically washing off speed most of the time. It's something so beautiful to watch.
It is.
Torrens unlocked that
for sure.
That same style of surfing, and it's a thing to behold. It really is. I think though that you don't necessarily have to be that elite to do it. I think that you probably your general QS guy could figure out a way to make those boards hum in that kind of. I mean, we're seeing Victor Bernardo kind of do the same thing, and I'm not throwing shade at these guys. I love that surfing. I'm just kind of making the point that it's a very select few who get the opportunity.
Well, I think there's that element of that sort of surfing on those boards that is true, but then like watching Tosh surfing in real time in pretty fucking hollow, sick waves. There's just little movements and board understanding that he has that I don't know if it's genetic. I don't know if he's learned it. I don't know where it comes from. Probably just comes from fucking years of being around so many great surfers, but it's really, really fucking good surfing, man. Like little down calves away from the barrel on a single fin to then bottom turn and set up the next section, and just the way that he does it, the style that he's got, I was backing it heavily.
Are they singlies though? I feel like a lot of them are quads and
maybe
twins.
Quads, twins, doesn't really matter.
They
like
got the outline of a single fin, but that's what those
they're
boards
big
generally
boards,
have.
and he's just like,
it's
I could watch it all day long.
Mate,
I was
it's
having
so
a
fun to
hell of a
watch.
time watching him, and
Me too.
delightful chap.
A guilty pleasure, Vaughn. A guilty pleasure. I'm going to have to give it an over.
Yeah, I'm giving it a huge over. I actually rate Tosh through the roof. I reckon he's just a fucking great surfer. Great kid. Looking forward to see what he does in his surfing life because he's only young. I don't even think he's 19 or 20 yet.
Wow.
Over.
Ernest Hemingway, Vaughn. Not Ernest Hemingway at all. Ace Bucket.
I've been looking forward to this, Smithy. I've been looking forward to this. Please take us into the world. The literary genius of Adrian Ace Bucket.
Yeah, he's a published author, the Ducks of the prestigious Barker College there on the North Shore, the son of a Zimbabwean school teacher via Cape Town. He's got some pedigree in the literature world. On your Ian, fucking oath, brah.
On your E.
But
Ace.
Ace, chip off the old block. He's dipped his quill in the ink and he's penned an incredible ode to Tiapa.
Can we start it with some music, please?
Tahiti is an intoxicating elixir that keeps you coming back for more. If it was a drink, it would be a mix of velvety coconut, champagne, infused with mezcal. Just as you're drifting off, it punches you in the face. Its verdant, volcanic mountains exploding upwards into the mist, fringed by a thin layer of fertile land, dotted with thriving villages protected by palm trees, coral reefs, and a pace of life so slow that a New Yorker might have a seizure. Tahiti, perhaps more than anywhere else on tour, challenged me physically and mentally in ways I never imagined, but it became a second home to me and also offered me career-defining opportunities where I could channel a lifetime's worth of dedication into a few seconds of instinct. I miss the pace of life, my beautiful Tahitian family, the food and those exhilarating moments at the end of the road, but I'm excited to watch the next generation in what looks like an incredible swell lining up.
Thank you. No mention of Gauguin's nubiles in there, Smithy?
No.
Paul Gauguin's nubiles?
Can't see any.
No mention of Gauguin's syphilis?
No.
Odd.
Yeah.
Odd. I
Couple
thought
of-
I got to mention the great master.
A couple of oversights and otherwise perfect bit of prose from the sunny coast. Slab Lord.
Can we keep it going? We need to have Ace's poetry corner or something.
Mate, I would love to get a rendition from the great Ace Buchan, about many of his favourite spots in the world, places on tour, even some of the places he fucking loathed and couldn't get out of quick enough. That'd be great too.
Wouldn't that be great? That's a cool caption.
Yeah, we'll hit him up.
Yeah, I think the art of the Instagram caption has really taken a dive since Surfcore went off the waves.
It has, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Surf Ads, a good friend of ours from down Newcastle / Crescent Headway, has kept things slightly alive. He's gone more into feature writing now. But what happened to the Instagram caption, mate? There was a golden era there where people were just really on.
Yeah, it was. I think we probably just cottoned on to the fact that despite the best of intentions and the best of prosaic poetry and literature, it was still absolutely cooking our synapses and draining the dopamine out of us and everyone else. Unbelievably toxic. Probably the worst medium you could ever choose to share great art on.
It's true.
But it's where the eyeballs are, Vaughn. It's where the mind crack addicts are. So that's where you put your best shit, I guess. Something like that.
Do you have any other favourite poems? So like, has this inspired you to go back to the Wordsworth, the great poets?
Yeah, the Banjo Pattersons,
the Henry
the,
Lawsons,
Henry Lawson's. Yeah, it's great. I do love a good Lawson poem there. Etched into the back of a door that's being used as a coffee table, in between the spittle and bleeding gums of the degenerates he's sharing that manly squat with.
Yeah.
Jeez, that was a golden age of Australian literature.
Yeah, public toilets often had great literature as well.
No, it's
Whatever
true.
the great public toilet poetry of yore.
It's an Australian classic.
I'll never forget one of the all-time greats I read when I was just a young child at one of those highway rest stops. It said, some come here to sit and think. Some come here to shit and stink. But I come here to scratch my balls and read the bullshit on the walls.
Oh, well played. Well played. Give him the gold cone piece. Incredible. What a mind. And who knows who he is? He could just be...
Well, I reckon it was Ace. I reckon it was a young Ace Buchan on his way to a pro junior, maybe from, fucking Sunny Coast to Newcastle. Called in at the Shell Servo on the old Pacific Highway. Penda Quick Ode.
On his way.
Yeah.
Well played, Ace. Well played.
Smithy, it's time.
It's time.
I think it's
we've
time.
promised and we haven't delivered, so it's time to hand it over to the Swellians.
Let's hand it over to the
give over.
Swellians. Yep, and we've got plenty from the Swellians this episode. We're going to kick things off with JS, Joel Stevens. Rumours of a Rebel tour starting in the next few years. WST is the rumour that Jolo's hearing. World Slab Tour.
Oof.
Also known as the CT Corn Tour. Thoughts on locations, potential competitors. let's keep this to a. We'll pick 2 each.
Yeah.
But on a scale of 1 to Toledo, how nervous should the WSL be? Well played.
Well played, well puckered.
I think my 2 instant startups are Russ Bjerke, Nate Florence, and the first 2 waves I've got is, let's say, Shippies, just because it's blown out. Everyone seems quite comfortable. And let's say, I can't think of another slab off the top of my dome. Maybe, I don't know, maybe one of Kirby Brown's mystery lefts up there in the northwest. 2 Aussie breaks to kick things off on the
That'll
tour.
be sick,
The
yeah.
Corn Tour.
Wouldn't mind seeing a super challenge redux kind of set up at Toomey's there. And there's a way to do it that's tasteful, just fucking give a couple of coloured gaffs or coloured rashes, or not even. And to 4 guys and then say, go hell for leather.
Yeah.
You got all day. You got 6 hours. We'll fucking
Who,
judge it out.
let's say my 2 are in it automatically. Who are you adding to those 2?
Solly's got to get a start.
Lazza Enova?
Oh, probably go. Yeah, I guess so. But
Kip Caddy?
Kip Cuddy,
Moose?
Paradisus. Yeah, fuck. I'm having a bit of a brain drain here. We've got the whole world to choose from. Ballaram Stack. I mean, a Mason Ho.
Fuck, so many. There's millions of them.
Plenty to choose from. Getting an Irishman in there would
Oh,
be great.
Connor.
Conor McGuire.
Gerard McDaid.
Yeah.
Jared McDaid. Fuck, there's so many slab heathens everywhere now. Doff of the cap to you all. And
Huey Vaughan, too. Shout out to Huey Vaughan, who fucking knifed a psycho one. I think it's Lowy's left down there, south of Sydney. But Pipeline-esque, it's in the fucking 10-foot plus range. The little Grom on his
He's
step
giving it
up.
some.
And it's not just like a quick in and out of a chamber of doom. This thing has multiple sections. Love to see a Sunny Coast Grom in the mix.
Hey, just quickly, doff of the cap time. Little Jarvis Earl from the Shire took out the crew event in pretty fucking cooking surf, man. It was good. Just wanted to give him a shout out there before I forgot.
Well played.
And who came second in that event? Maybe Taj Stokes from Noosa and Willow Hardy, the great Hardy family.
Yes, what a dynasty
legendary.
it is.
No, can continue. Speaking of Boog, surf crossover.
Chippo Wilcox, chuck him in the slab.
Chuck him in.
Hey.
Jay Davies.
This is from
Crikey.
Namu, Barreled Podcast, good friends of the show. Smithy, how was Mr. McGoaty's 9.73 not a 10? We've been through this, but I would have given it a 10. You less so?
No, I'm definitely in the 10 range for that. I guess it's that same kind of point we made. It was early on in the heat. The judges were trying to come up with a scale that didn't fuck the outcome of the heat, so they lowballed him. But that thing was ludicrous. Are you serious? The thickness, the way it grows as it hits that West Bowl and the shocky, and he just manages it all.
And that tiny little space you're talking about above the shocky, he's just got that line fucking dialed in the goat.
It's crazy too because you're coming from a place where the wave is growing exponentially in thickness as it rounds. So as you pull that high line, the energy coming back at you as the wave thickens and bowls on that end section is so immense. To get the read on that and to be able to navigate it and not end up in the lip. And, oh, mate, we talk about the deft adjustments and the barely discernible tube technique of the goats. All on show on that one.
Fantastic. Matthew Hayes, 23, legit question. If Felipe was dropped into the ladies' event at Chopes, how much would Molly or Vahini have beaten him by? That's a low blow there, matey boy. But
He's
to
dead
be
set,
fair,
got his knuckle
and-
dusters on and just punctured Phil's fucking corn with that. That's
well,
awful.
I mean,
Wow.
Tatiana, fuck, she probably would have comboed him with one wave, probably. Mate, look, there's a lot of questions here. I'm not going to read them all out because they're pretty hectic, but a lot of the feel from the Swellians is, should Phil just give it up? Give the defending champ and Gabe the fucking spots for Brazil.
Yeah, it's...
And Joao. I mean, Joao, is he going to be surfing in the Olympics? Has that been confirmed?
Well, yeah, you'd think so. I mean, if you're sending it in warm-up surfs out there,
Yeah,
he's
okay.
going to have a crack in the big show.
Yeah.
But you'd have to, mate, oh, god damn.
It's a heavy one, man.
Fucking rattles me the thought
I know.
of turning up at the Olympics. But with Toledo's form in those kinds of conditions, but there is also a solid chance that Chopes is going to be fucking 3 to 4 foot. That kind of 2009 spec when AI won his last comp there. And, you know, it can be as playful as any reef break on Earth and surfable by
There's no guarantee it's going to be fucking thundering orbs of immortal consequences. It's not. And then you want a fucking Felipe in your back corner, don't you?
Yeah.
In your back pocket.
Well, and what's the go there with the waiting period? How long are they got?
Oh, I don't think there's fucking almost any. I think it's just like, here's your days, go.
That's rattling.
Yeah, it is a rattle. Especially in light of the fact that it's the only live event in our waking television hours.
When you put it like that, it's almost a guarantee they're not going to score.
Yeah.
So you can't just rock up to Chopes and fucking get solid waves. That just doesn't happen.
I mean, if it is on that, what do they do with the sailing if there's no wind? You know, like all the fucking they
just load up on beans and it's just fucking quoits pointed at the direction of the race, isn't it?
Anyway, we'll see what happens there. Barreled Surf Podcast again. This may be one of the other boys, maybe T-Bone or Adzi. If you step on a poisonous cobbler fish in the surf, like I did recently, is it okay for your mates to stand around in a circle and piss on your affected foot? Apparently it's good. It's an old pain-relieving remedy. Asking for a friend, of course. Also, do you have any recipes for getting strong piss smells off your wetty? Look, I'm okay with standing around in a circle pissing on someone.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about the old rubbing one out and throwing a hot load
party.
on it. Yeah, no. We can't have that. Can't have that, boys.
It's bad when you're in pain and you put that trust in your mates to form the circle and they're all pissing on you, but then there's one little wad. What the fuck? Hey!
Any secrets to getting a piss smell out of your wetty?
I mean, it's hard when there's that much DNA in the mix. It's pretty difficult. You know, you can get maybe 7 out of 8 if you're lucky, but there's always going to be one stubborn, that cunt is just fucking always on the terps. His piss looks like motor oil. That guy, hard to get rid of.
Yeah.
He's going to linger.
Yeah. It's like the triple coffee shot and just a couple of cans of that caffeine.
The last time he drank water was 1997. Yeah. That guy.
Pretty pissed weak if you ask me.
Good luck.
Sean T here, Smithy. Is John getting absolutely cooked by the judges on the score sheet? He's the most underscored, in my opinion. Who's your most under and overscored surfers on tour at the moment?
I think the judges kind of get it right, don't they? That's my take generally on it. I don't see any consistent patterns emerging.
No. I think maybe just Italo went out of flavour for a little hot second. Like, it didn't seem like he was... I remember watching heats of him in the last 2 years where he's had his dry run where I was going, fuck, he's really not getting any love here. I remember thinking that out loud. Like, I remember Margaret's, he got a left, did a fucking full rotor, little cutty, needed a fucking piss weak score and didn't get it. Don't know. I'm with you. I don't think it's a consistent thing. I just think that maybe just the flavour sort of goes hot and cold at times. Because look at Cal Robbo and Morgs. Absolutely blitzed their first years on tour. All of a sudden, judges aren't really getting like little stiffies watching what they're doing anymore. And fuck, it's hard for them to get scores.
Yeah, it can be hard to get a read on the whims of the judging trends and how they change. Like, we see Yago Dora getting a 9 for a one-hit corked backside air rev at J-Bay. But then you see Italo getting docked for some pretty big high-velocity rotations at Margs and elsewhere. We see Medina getting docked for the same kind of smaller scale of that Yago punt at Winky Pop. And, it just kind of seems the goalposts do seem to move around a bit. But I think there's been a clear message sent to competitors that it's all about down-the-line flow and combinations of maneuvers. The one-hitters are generally not scoring these days.
Nah.
Get back on protection, you mutt. Hey.
Yeah, Nix. He wants to know, I've noticed everyone calls Kelly the GOAT now. Literally the whole world. Surely the Swellian can finally lay claim that they started it. Claim it, boys.
Oh, well, it has to be. I called it to his face about 72 times. I set a
And
world
he
record.
didn't like it. Remember?
he wasn't into
He got
it.
his back up when we did it live at the Torquay. You were calling him goat this, goat that, and he said something like, "How about you say my name and I'll try to remember yours." And you said fair play. It was a good joust. Thrust and parry, Smithy all over the goat. But yeah, he is definitely goat now. There's no other name for him. I mean, you thought Robert was a distant memory in his on his birth certificate. Kelly's starting to fizzle. Slater could be gone. Just goat now. Tell you two other things though. Cone has been creeping into the dialect of the WSL commentary team. Plenty of cones.
Piper, dropping a couple of
mentioned here.
cones. Shout out to Max Zappas, wherever you are, my friend.
Big shout out, Zappas.
$1 he coined the cone.
But Paul Evans actually dropped a fucking ripping corn rinse on a WSL broadcast over in South Africa last year. So fantastic effort there from the great
Evanoid.
Paulie Evans.
Pretty pissed weak if you ask me.
Bane, 18. Don't know if this is a relative of the great Gamote, but let's ask him. Gabby's almost perfect heat. Overscored all legit. You've had your say about that. So we'll move on from that. On your Baney. McDevitt, friend of the show.
McDevitt Electrical.
Will Erin Brooks be the next Kelly Slater of the surf world? My cone piece sees her winning a world title as a teen and landing a multi-season stint on a corny US TV show.
Ooh.
Any luck getting a smile out of her old man yet?
Not
No
yet.
reports on smiles from old man Brooks. Old Brooksy just yet, Smithy. Couldn't tell if he was smiling or not anyway. The beard is that long, mate. He's fucking tripping over that thing at the moment. Erin, I mean, she's got a winning smile, talent to burn, wins on the board. What more does she need other than an appearance on,
That's
I don't
it.
know, Heartbreak High? Or
Mate, she's squeaky clean. She has not a single charge on her rap sheet. She's yet to, go that kind of Disney burnout route and end up hooked on meth, living in West Virginia or something. So she's got plenty of potential, Vaughn.
Yeah.
I can't see any reason why, some kind of mainstream sappy soap opera wouldn't pick her up and drop her in the boiling vat of American celebrity and stardom and just cook her, as it's done to so many. Rest in peace, Heath Ledger and the rest.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Brooksy, bruh. Yeah. I was pretty blown away by her. Like, you know when you're watching a broadcast, obviously the camera moves with the surfer, so you don't get that sense of speed. We've talked about this a lot with Parko surfing and stuff like that in that Legends heat. She's so fast. She is so whip fast, Smithy. Like down the line, into the pocket, snaps it out of the lip, just fucking shockingly fast.
Oh, yeah. I can't believe the angles she generates.
Yeah,
Backside.
and man, I'm
crazy.
telling you,
so
that-
flexible and dainty and clubs it at the same
Do
time.
you think, like, Katie's fast? This girl matches her, so fuck. It's just the mouth waters at the thought of Erin, Sierra, Katie on tour at the same time.
Quick off the cap to Bethany Hamilton for sticking that air reverse in the
Oh!
wave pool too.
Yeah,
That
mental.
was mental.
Well, she did. You might recall, like, landed one at Padang years ago.
Really?
Full blown air rev back in the Rip Curl days when she was quite young. So doesn't get scared to throw the full rotor.
Wow.
Beth, top of the cap.
Pretty pissed weak if you ask me.
Okay, Smithy. Let's have a look here.
Get back on protection, you mutt. Hey?
Josh Windsor, long-time listener and many-time caller, Smithy. Can the Swellians please launch a Hey It's Saturday hour or two of Swellian Gold to help warm us up for a night on the piss every Saturday? Fucking how good would that be?
Only if you
UTFS.
sign up to our Patreon account. Does that mean we get to... Yeah, right. Because there was a lot of politically... It didn't age well.
It
Hey,
didn't
Hey,
age well,
It's Saturday. A lot
but
of
who's to
politically
say
incorrect
anything we
gaffes.
say on this show is going to age well?
Well, I mean, I don't think I've put my foot in it.
Never
Have
once,
you?
mate. No, I think the early years went missing. So, yeah. There's
was convenient.
Very convenient. 2 hours of Ain't That What, mate? Jump on our YouTube. We've got a YouTube channel. Get on it.
Oh, and also...
Hours of fun.
We've got a Patreon account, so all those fucking whingers blowing up about the ads, now's your chance to cough up, sling us $5 for fucking 10 plus years of hard graft and free content. And, subscribe. Ad-free. Just the purest in Patreon subscription content. Shout out to Gordo Sauce Bottle Kilby, our one and only subscriber at this point, coughing up 5 bones.
What a legend.
But the crazy thing is, too, to cough up $5. So we have, something around 50,000 listeners?
Yeah.
So if even 10% of you coughed up $5 an episode, that's 50 grand a month. And I don't even need a fucking quarter of that to live off. So what that means is the money is then going back to you in the form of swellness events. Like, we're not greedy people. I've fucking grown up on the fucking brown bread and beans and melted cheese program with a single mum living in absolute mold shitholes across the inner city of Sydney. So I'm used to living off fuck all. So if you can cough up just a little bit, we'll put on a mad spread for the boys and the girls. That's a promise to
on
you.
Your swellians. On your swellians. Get
Future
on board.
Patreon subscribers.
That's the way to do
Go
it.
Go on, cough up, invest in change and wellness and a whole bunch of good shit and bad shit and funny shit.
It also allows us to maybe get a fucking production assistant so we can get our fucking shows up to scratch a little bit more too, Smitty.
Oh, yeah, man. This is a smell of an oily rag scenario.
2-man op, fucking grinding our noses onto that grindstone. Mine's almost gone, as you can see. It's actually getting bigger, mate. Couple more, Smivvy. Let's have a look here. Let's have a look here. Fuck, we're getting through them. Here's a good one. Danos wants to know, are the WSL only going to give away a maximum of one esky per event? One of the men, one of the women? Medina deserved the perfect heat, but they seem to just hang on and just couldn't give out any more. Like, is this some sort of conspiracy, some sort of conspiracy in Wasland that there's only, the Yeti order has come down, one tumbler per event? Any more than that, sponsorship cut. Makes sense.
It's interesting.
Do the math.
Yeah, I mean, far out. I know a way they could potentially subsidise the cost of freight and get a few more Yetis to the contest sites at these exotic locations. And look, El Salvador is the perfect place to start. Just fucking fill them up with a couple of bricks of you know what, and that'll pay you away. Yeah, starting now, El Salvador. You know, I know a guy who knows a guy who will hook you up with a couple of the CIA's best kilos of cocaine.
Ooh.
And, mate, you can fucking ship and freight all the Yeti coolers you want around planet Earth. And, get the bourgeois high on the powder while you're at it. Get the judges and the coppers and the politicians and the journos all gurning. How good. And get Gabby 1 or 2 Yetis even. Like, fuck, give him 3.
Fuck, mate. Get the Yeti program. Pump them up. I mean, it's the ultimate. Like, think 70s. Think of the opportunities that have gone missing in all the extra fundage that could have been siphoned in the WSL if Yetis had been around back in the 70s.
Seriously. Instead,
mate,
they were using Peter McCabe's cornhole like it was a Yeti. And it's not. It's a much-needed orifice.
Hey, 2 to go here, Smithy. And they could be related. First one is from Samuel Bourne with a B. Spelt the same. How do you deal with an erection in the surf? Yeah, is it a common thing for you?
Well, not really. I mean, especially given the male-dominated nature of most lineups, seldom cracking a fat, although it is true that paddling out behind a woman in a bikini bottom and the way it all kind of wedges up there.
Yeah.
It's one of the great wedges.
It has inspired.
I mean, I love a good right wedge, but I also love a good backside wedge too. And, look, I think at that point, you just think unsexy thoughts. You look from the wedge across to the grimacing 50-year-old relic that's just covered in back hair and blowing steam out of his nostrils and abusing bodyboarders.
Think of the Gabby Medina backside Flanders air where his butt looked all glossy and sexy Flanders in it.
That's enough to send you impotent for the rest of your life, that is.
This one's from Chris O'Pearce, mate, and it's our last show. Is Gabriel Medina secretly the great white Seacock?
Ooh.
Have you heard any rumours? Has there been any conjecture? Has Gabby's prong been outed as some sort of huge albino-like fucking toneless beast? Sea beast? I haven't heard any rumours about this, but judging from the amount of slaying that allegedly goes down, there is potential for some sort of insane creature from the deep that is terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, he is from South America, and it is possible that in the process of putting infinite females to the sword, that one of those microscopic Amazonian microbes that crawl up the eye of your penis and lay a bunch of eggs in there and turn it into some giant, white, saggy piece of bratwurst. Could have happened. It is possible. Or it could also have been just a classical mishap where he's donned the cock ring to go hammer and tong with the cavalcade of women lining up at his door, and somewhere along the way his just appendages become that swollen they couldn't get the cock ring off, and it just continued to pump blood into the appendage, and it's just ballooned to the point it is this saggy, giant, dead weight. Just maybe that's the secret to those deep tube rides, Vaughn, and the immense blowouts.
Well, maybe was the secret to the non-make in the semi-finals.
Maybe it's the only way he gets a shot off these days. He's that kind of, that's his kink. He just needs to be that deep, getting his cornhole tickled, his prong, he's rinsed. And then and only then can he let one rip. And we all saw the results, a 9.83 out of 10, nearly a perfect heat. And, I really feel sorry for the Tahitian boat operators in the channel who are getting blown in the face by what they think is sea mist.
Ooh.
That's awful.
I did see a hell of a lot of Seacock mist getting blown across the boats in the channel, and I bet you anything, Smithy, that they couldn't clear the lenses with just a tissue, mate.
No, they needed a Ouija, a squeegee.
A wet wipe, some Dettol, and a fucking good hit of penicillin.
Yeah, I want to see a Royal Commission into that, Vaughn.
The sea has monsters. Giant, terrible beasts. But none inspire more dread or fear than the mythical great Seacock. Steady yourselves, mates, for this is a true story.
Well, here is the legend of the Fingaloo, the world's most mighty ship. Held the bodies and the souls of 300 men from its asshole to its tip. All praise the Fingaloo, they sang from the port as she sailed that day. Nobody could have known the fate that lay in the great ship's weight. Weeks went by with no sight of land, and the men did hit their rum. And the big black clouds pouring off the bow told of trouble sure to come. The winds were strong and the seas were rough, but the Fingaloo stood firm and tough. When down in the galley came a mighty thud, as though the ship was struck by the fist of God. Well, the seamen ran to the starboard deck, and to a man they were all in shock. Before their eyes was a beast in breach, 'twas the feared great white Seacock. And it rose from the sea 400 feet tall, and it spat from its eye an obnoxious pull. And the men did pray as they were showered in spray, as the great white cock then began to fall. And it fell full weight on the Fingaloo, and the once great ship was now in two. And the ghosts of the men haunt the ports and docks, and if you listen to the wind you might hear them sing. I fucking hate Seacocks.
I hate them too.
I fucking hate Seacocks.
My life a Seacock did.
Great white Seacocks especially.
Are you kidding? Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Are you kidding?